So Carson Wentz gets the start tonight, his 5th straight start as J.J. McCarthy continues to rehab an ankle injury. It was a 4 to 6 week injury from the start. We're not quite to 6 weeks, so this isn't a surprise. If he wasn't ready to go on Sunday against the Eagles, he's not going to be ready to go on Thursday. This is going to be more, if we see him soon, it's going to be at the Lions week 9. And a lot of it depends upon what Wentz does tonight. There was a moment this week where I thought maybe Max Brosmer was going to get the start. Brosmer or Brosmer. Every time I think I know, I remember it the wrong way. It's one of the two. Brosmer, undrafted rookie out of Minnesota with the Minnesota Vikings. And he's the guy who's been the backup the last 5 weeks. If Carson Wentz gets banged up and can't go, we'll see Max Brosmer tonight against the Chargers. So Vikings need it badly. Chargers need it badly. Chargers are banged up too. Both teams have been struggling a bit of late. Got some questions from the mailbag. Cousin Vin, what's the latest on J.J. McCarthy? I already started down that path. Look, I think they need, at the end of this season, to make a decision. And, he hasn't had enough of a chance. One of the most fundamental qualities for any quarterback is availability. And if you've gotten through 2 seasons where the first one is completely wiped out because of meniscus injury, they required surgery and put him on season-ending IR. And then you get into the next season, and in the second game, he's got a high ankle sprain that knocks him out for 5 starts and counting. It doesn't matter how good he is when he plays. You've got to play. You've got to be available. And you saw what the Colts did. And I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, probably Paul Allen of KFAN in Minneapolis. I think the Colts were ready to cut and run on Anthony Richardson after 2 seasons. And they said enough to Daniel Jones to get him to choose to sign with the Colts. There was enough of a wink, enough of a nod to let him know that if he came there, unless he failed, it's his job. It's his job to lose. They're willing to turn the page. They're willing to admit that they may have made a mistake taking Anthony Richardson 4th overall in the 2023 draft. At some point, the Vikings are going to ask themselves, did we make a mistake? And are we willing to admit it? The first part is easy. The second part is a lot harder. But the properly functioning organizations in sports, once they acknowledge that they made a mistake to themselves, they have no qualms about acknowledging it to the world. Because you know what? You are going to make mistakes. They can't all be winners. It's a lottery ticket when you make a draft pick. The more time you spend trying to justify a mistake that you know you made, the more mistakes you're going to make and the worse it's going to get. I think that's why there was some confusion and consternation about what they were going to do after 1 season, because I think there were people in the organization who were saying, you know what, let's ride this out another year. Plenty of quarterbacks have sat for 3 seasons. He can sit for another season. Let him sit for another season. Let's go with Sam Darnold. Let's go with Daniel Jones. Let's go with Aaron Rodgers. Let's focus on the best product we can put on the field this year, and let's let the kid continue to develop behind the scenes. Work for Jordan Love, work for Aaron Rodgers, it's worked for other quarterbacks. They may have made a mistake in not keeping Darnold or Jones or signing Aaron Rodgers when it seemed like he wanted to go there. Cynthia Hill asks, who shows up tonight, Dr. Carson or Mr. Wentz? It could be both in the same game. It could be both. He's gone chariot to pumpkin, chariot to pumpkin, chariot to pumpkin multiple times. The guy was an MVP candidate. He was the presumed winner of the award in 2017 when he suffered the torn ACL. And since then, it's just never really worked. And there were more than a few plays where the old Carson Wentz showed up last week. At least when he was rolling in his end zone, remember that long interception he threw? At least he didn't do something like try to throw it left-handed, but he did have a pick 6. And the Vikings were still in the game. And he did make some plays. There were just enough bad plays that it ended up being a problem for the Minnesota Vikings. All right, let's take a break. Because when we return, as promised, as scheduled weeks ago, but it turns out to be very timely, there is much to discuss with NFL Executive VP of Football Operations, Troy Vincent. He'll join me next here on PFT Live. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.